today. Thank you for the work that you do to highlight the history of tenant organizing in our city and the importance of it and the long-lasting impacts of it. It is a pleasure to be joined by leaders from across my administration, including Deputy Mayor Leila Bozarg, Sia Weaver, Director of the Mayor's Office to Protect Tenants, HPD Commissioner Dina Levy, and DOB Commissioner Ahmed Tagani. We also have staff from HPD, DOB, DCWP, and the Office to Protect Tenants who helped make the rental ripoff hearings a reality. And I would be remiss if I did not acknowledge the leaders that we have here from tenant organizations across our city. Let's have a round of applause for those who've been on the front lines. December of 1907 was not a happy time to be a tenant in New York City. 2 out of every 3 New Yorkers were living in crammed tenement housing, like those brought to life here at the Tenement Museum. It was brutally cold. Nearly 100,000 New Yorkers had just lost their jobs in an economic crisis. And in response, many landlords had decided to raise the rent by 33%. What New Yorkers needed in 1907 was a city government that worked for them, one that prioritized their struggles, one that took material action to hold bad landlords accountable. They did not have such leadership in City Hall. But in its absence, New Yorkers did what New Yorkers do best. They organized. More than 10,000 families came together to protest these conditions, one of the largest tenant movements in our city's history. That movement ushered in a century of tenant organizing and of progress. Today, New York City is home to the strongest tenant protections anywhere in the United States of America. And yet we know this work remains unfinished. Too many still pay soaring rents, only to live with kitchens full of cockroaches and bathroom pipes that leak and rust. Yet today, New Yorkers have a city government that is quite different from the one in 1907. Throughout our first 4 months in office, City Hall held New York City's first ever rental ripoff hearings, attended by more than 2,300 New Yorkers across the 5 boroughs. Forums where tenants could share their struggles and ideas directly with those who have the power to deliver change. I spoke with New Yorkers who told me about vents filled with mold, nights spent shivering in the dead of winter, elevators that sat out of order for months on end, and landlords who, amidst all of this, refused to do anything about it. These New Yorkers did not share these stories only for them to be promptly forgotten. They shared them so they would serve as the foundation of the policies City Hall would pursue, the change we would deliver. Today, City Hall delivers on that promise. This rental ripoff report, also known as RRR, not to be confused with the 2022 Tollywood smash hit, is based on thousands of testimonies shared at rental ripoff hearings across our 5 boroughs. It outlines the actions our administration will take to improve the lives of tenants who call this city home. These actions fall under 4 major categories. First, we will improve housing quality by strengthening our enforcement of common housing code violations and complaints. For the first time ever, inspectors will investigate every single heat complaint the city receives. Also, for the first time ever, if HPD inspectors come at a time when you're not available, you will be able to reschedule a visit at a time that works for you. New Yorkers have been able to schedule food deliveries and the time they pick up their clothes at the dry cleaner for years. They should be able to do the same when it comes to an inspection of their home. We will also tackle pests, eradicate mold, and fix broken elevators. 3 of the largest concerns voiced by New Yorkers during the rental ripoff hearings. We will address the underlying causes of mold for the first time. No longer will landlords be allowed to slap a new coat of paint over a wall of black mold and pretend that the issue is fixed. And we will keep New Yorkers safe by confronting the causes and devastating consequences of residential fires. Second, we will continue to hold bad landlords accountable. We will take on the worst landlords in the city with our Fix the City campaign. And we will reform our systems for cataloging building registrations and penalties. Right now, everything is still done on paper. That not only slows things down, it makes it harder to hold those who violate the law accountable. Digitizing this process will not only help us crack down on repeat violators, it will also allow us to support the many landlords who operate with integrity. Third, we will empower tenants across New York City. The best protected tenant is an organized tenant. That is why we will legally recognize tenant unions, protecting New Yorkers from harassment or threat of eviction for seeking solidarity with their neighbors. And we will partner with organized tenants across the city to deliver the accountability they deserve from their landlords, and in certain cases, to support the successful transfer of their buildings to more responsible owners. Fourth, we will make the housing market fairer and more transparent. This includes requiring the disclosure of AI or digitally altered images and video on misleading rental listings that waste New Yorkers' time and money. You shouldn't have to worry whether or not the apartment you are viewing online is real. After all, it's called Street Easy, not Street Hard. All of these actions and improvements come as a direct result of every tenant who attended a rental ripoff hearing. Every tenant who chose to speak up. Every tenant who refused to tolerate another year of negligence and disrepair. Every tenant who demanded more from their city government. This work is just beginning. We will build on the success of the rental ripoff hearings as we hold 5 NYCHA in Your Neighborhood events, 1 in each borough, beginning this September. These 2 are forums where NYCHA tenants' ideas and concerns will be translated into material change across public housing. In the words of Mayor John Lindsay, cities are for people and for living. Every New Yorker deserves to live a dignified life in a dignified home in the city they love. That is a responsibility that government can, must, and will fulfill. Thank you very much.
Thanks, everybody. My name is Sia. I'm the director of the Mayor's Office to Protect Tenants, and thank you so much to Mayor Mamdani for the opportunity to hold these hearings across the 5 boroughs, and to the many New Yorkers who were welcome to the governing table here with us. And thank you to the Tenant Museum. I love this museum. I really am grateful to be here. I'm going to pass it over to the HPD Commissioner, Dina Levy. Thank you.
Morning, everybody. Thank you. Mayor Mamdani, and I also want to thank Executive Director Weaver, Deputy Mayor Borzog, and Commissioner Tagani for their partnership in getting us to this point. But most of all, I want to thank the thousands of New Yorkers who came out to these hearings to tell us what they need and what they expect from us, to share their experiences about what it is like and what is hard about living in New York. HPD is one of several agencies that has an awesome responsibility. We ensure that New Yorkers are safe and secure once inside their homes. Through these hearings, we have heard loudly and clearly where we need to step up our efforts. As the mayor said, the report outlines a series of changes in the way we will be doing business. Over the last 2 weeks, I went out and visited 4 of our local offices throughout the boroughs where all of our code inspectors and all of our lead inspectors work. And we had an all-hands-on-deck meeting to talk about these changes to how we inspect heat complaints, how we deal with lead complaints, how we help tenants stay safe and prevent very serious and very dangerous fires. I am very happy to report that folks were not only happy to hear this news, they were excited to get out and do this work. I also want to say that the report lays out new initiatives that we think are necessary in terms of upscaling our special enforcement programs, including our new Fix the City initiative, which will target chronically and willfully negligent landlords to finally put an end to these predatory practices. It also lays out our plans for a new initiative called Enforcement Days, which will take referrals from organized resident associations so that we can do roof-to-cellar inspections across housing portfolios, enabling both HPD and DOB to address systemic noncompliance more quickly and more aggressively. These reforms are a direct product of what tenants told us from every borough, from every neighborhood that they need. and that feedback will now serve as our call to action. I want to thank the staff at HPD who joined me at these hearings, and to the dedicated teams in our code enforcement and housing litigation units for their ongoing commitment to making sure that New York City is a safe and secure place to live. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. And I'd now like to pass it to DOB Commissioner Ahmed Tagani.
First, I want to thank the mayor and the deputy mayor. Your leadership and example has set the tone not only at DOB, but clearly across the agency, that when we're thinking about how we're forming policy, we're working to get out of our own way and make sure that the tenants and the people of New York have the clear path to setting the direction and setting the focus on how we deliver city services. So we are grateful as commissioners and as having this opportunity to be leaders in this administration. I'll also say that I've been in government for some time, and I am amazed at how easy and incredibly core it is to our work that I get to have partners like Sia and Dina and Sam at DCWP and the people who have been picked in this administration, because not only have we been given this charge to focus on solving root causes and no longer putting Band-Aids, but we genuinely talk and work and collaborate actively together every day, because we know together and working in partnership and breaking down silos and barriers, we will achieve the greatest success. So not only do we have this opportunity to deliver for you, we're actually rewriting the DNA and nucleus of your government to make sure that it is responsive today and in the future to the kind of policies that will make this city better. Earlier this year, I had the privilege of being part of these rental ripoff hearings, along with the incredible members of the DOB Office of the Tenant Advocate and our community engagement and external affairs team, some of whom are here today, so thank you for the work that you've done. Thousands of our fellow New Yorkers took time out of our busy days to join us in gymnasiums and community centers in neighborhoods across the 5 boroughs to attend these hearings in order to get just a few minutes to share their stories with government representatives. For the first time ever, New Yorkers saw that their government wanted to hear their voices, wanted to know about their experiences, wanted to help, and they jumped at the chance to participate at these hearings. And the result is a groundbreaking document that changes how we will ensure that not only the housing stock, but the people in that housing stock are made better. In these conversations, I couldn't help but think of my own story here in New York, growing up in a household, a single mom trying to provide for her kids in an apartment building that wasn't that great. And very often, as I tell this story to inspectors who are graduating or in the program at different places I've worked, it was the housing inspector or the DOB inspector that was the most prevalent representation of government in my life. And I saw that you can depend on someone. I saw the results of making that phone call and seeing someone push our landlord to make sure that the place was correct, that it was clean, and it was livable. That little help helps someone like my mom who was already trying to figure 10 other things for us. It makes her life just that much easier to be able to focus on other things that are important to the family. So in these conversations, we heard about inconsistent elevator service, disruptive construction activity, delayed building maintenance, and government enforcement that wasn't getting compliance results from landlords who weren't meeting their legal obligations. This administration is focused on doing more than any other to better understand these experiences, and now with the release of this report, we have a blueprint to repair what's broken in our enforcement protocols and close the gap in our city laws. We are excited to work with our partners at our fellow agencies in the City Council in Albany. We will go wherever we have to go to deliver for tenants in this city. We are here to make sure that the majority has their voice in the places it needs to be. And that means better elevator service in our vertical city. enforcement actions against bad actors, and actually having teeth and creating a regulatory environment that incentivizes property owners to properly take care of their buildings. So, thank you. So thank you, Mr. Mayor, DM, to my fellow commissioners. We're excited to have the blueprint, and now we're excited to get to work.
Hi, everybody. So many years ago, Commissioner Levy hired me into my very first tenant organizing job. Not that many years ago, but many years ago. And that tenant organization still exists. And I'm really proud to invite up a tenant leader from Hope Tenants Union, Tony Moreo.
Thank you. Good morning, everybody. My name is Antonia Marrero, and I am thrilled to be a member of the Hope Tenant Union. Housing organizers for people's empowerment. Hope facilitates tenant unity. Hope offers civic education, and Hope insists on the high road, the path of justice and housing for all. I was honored to participate in this year's rental ripoff hearings, and I want to thank Michael Tiger, General Counsel of the NYC Department of Consumer and Worker Protection, who listened to my testimony and welcomed my questions with kindness. Mayor Mamdani's rental ripoff hearings will echo for generations the way the lessons of this, our tenement museum, have increasingly resonated for generations. When I think about hope, I think about Shakespeare. In the comedy Measure for Measure, set in Vienna, a city famous for its social housing, the character Isabella talks about the political machine. She says, "Authority, though it err like others, hath yet a kind of medicine in itself that skins the vice or the top." Isabella, the novice nuns, in this is saying that kings, landlords, bishops, judges, and inspectors, all of these powerful figures are subject to mistakes. But because they have power, their mistakes have very little in the way of consequences, at least little consequences to them. But Sister Isabella also says, "Go to your bosom, knock there, and ask your heart what it doth know." What my heart knows is that we are living in an epic chapter of history. An epic is not a romance. It's not a melodrama. An epic is the story of a new order. Our city is turning the corner on tenant power. When we organize, we win results. The Mamdani administration is emboldening us so that we no longer tolerate the violence of evictions as a matter of business as usual. My landlord owns dozens of buildings, but he is not a steward of the public trust. In fact, it is the opposite. Since 2005, I survived 3 faulty eviction cases. I've lost 3 friends to eviction, 2 of whom lived on my floor. And for the past year and a half, our supportive housing neighbors have been dissuaded from joining our fledgling tenant union. But today's report shows there is a path forward. I am grateful for Mayor Mamdani's leadership, his commitment to improving our housing quality and holding low-road landlords accountable, and the commitment to having tenant leaders, not just real estate leaders and bankers, but tenant leaders at the decision-making table. Mayor Mamdani's rental ripoff hearings will be remembered in the book of Lady Liberty, whose torch beacons the homeless the tempest tossed to our shores. So the greatest cosmopolis of interdependent neighborhoods that the world has ever known will set a new standard of what humanity can achieve when we prioritize collaboration over dominion, when we prioritize love over profit. And to me, this man will always be Mayor Cardamom. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you very much. Yes. So just before we start any questions, I do want to talk about the air quality. As New Yorkers can see, and in some neighborhoods, as New Yorkers can smell, smoke from the Canadian wildfires is over our city. What the experts say is that today is expected to be the worst day of this event. The state has forecast air quality in the unhealthy range for the New York City region, and I want to be clear about what that word means in this instance. At unhealthy levels, everyone, not just people with asthma and heart conditions, not just older adults, everyone may feel health effects. So today, every New Yorker should take precautions. Limit your time outdoors, especially strenuous activity. We have made free KN95 masks available at hundreds of locations citywide, including libraries, police precincts, and a number of firehouses. Go to on.nyc.gov/free mask, and you'll find a map of where to pick one up, or call 311. You can also text Notify NYC to 692-692 so we can reach you if conditions change, and do try and check on your neighbors through it all. We will keep you updated through the day. These are conditions that we know are also coming at the same time as a heat emergency for New Yorkers. So it is very important to stay up to date, to stay prepared, and to respond with your safety as the most important thing, because that is what it is for city government as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Now we'll start with on-topic questions about the report, and we have our C. Weaver as well as the Deputy Mayor to answer questions as well. We're going to start with Ben Miller from The Real Deal, and if you could just wait for the microphone.
Thanks so much. Hi, Mr. Mayor.
How's it going, Ben?
Going good. I wanted to ask a little bit about the phases in which the...
And you've been watching Mayor Mamdani and other city officials detail the results of the city's rental ripoff hearings. We'll have more on this story coming up on CBS News at noon. Good morning and welcome to CBS News New York at 10 a.m. I'm Cindy Hsu. We're streaming live with your top stories of the day. An air quality alert remains in effect for most of the day as smoke from Canadian wildfires moves through our area. A live look outside. While things have cleared up slightly, conditions are still pretty hazy. Meteorologists